Devastating news just hit the Eagles' locker room, my friend. One of the most promising players on the entire defense, a guy who was a first-round pick, who finished last season on the all-rookie team, and who should right now be preparing for a historic sophomore season, is going to miss probably most of the offseason because of a shoulder injury. And the defensive coordinator himself confirmed all of it with a sentence that no fan wanted to hear at this time of year. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel right now because this news directly affects the Eagles' plans for 2026, and you need to know what it means for the defense that just won the Super Bowl. Stay with me because I'm going to break down everything. Who this player is, the injury history he's been carrying, who's going to have to step up in his absence, and what Vic Fangio said that has everyone in Philadelphia on edge. With the 2026 season approaching and free agency reshaping the Eagles defensively, the front office is trying to build a new group that can maintain the elite standard that brought Philadelphia a championship. Nakobe Dean left for the Las Vegas Raiders after 4 years with the team. Jalen Phillips is gone. Reed Blankenship is gone. Vic Fangio himself said in an interview that the Eagles look like a defensive farm system for the other 31 teams in the league. And now, right when the team needs defensive stability at the second level the most, this news drops about one of the most important players to Philadelphia's future. The name generating concern is Jihad Campbell, the linebacker who just turned 22 and was selected with the 31st overall pick in the 2025 draft. Vic Fangio confirmed, at an event honoring legendary coach Dick Vermeil, that Campbell is dealing with a shoulder injury and will likely miss most of the offseason. Fangio was straightforward about it. He's going to have to cram everything into Campbell during training camp to get the young linebacker ready for the season. That means the spring OTAs, all the early preseason preparation, those first moments of chemistry building with a new roster, all of that could happen without him. Now let's talk about what these numbers and this history actually mean. Jihad Campbell finished his rookie season with 80 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 2 tackles for loss, 1 quarterback hit, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery across 17 games. He was named to the all-rookie team by the Pro Football Writers of America. For a 21-year-old playing his first NFL season, those are very solid numbers. But the problem, my friend, isn't the talent. The problem is exactly this shoulder, which was already causing Campbell trouble long before he got to the NFL. Think about it. Campbell was projected to go somewhere between the 15th and 20th pick in the 2025 draft. He was a first-tier linebacker out of Alabama, leading the team in tackles with 117 on the year, adding 11.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and earning all SEC honors. A monster on the field. But a labrum injury in his shoulder during that final college season caused him to miss a good chunk of pre-draft workouts. He participated in the combine but skipped Alabama's pro day. The result, he slid all the way to pick 31, where Howie Roseman swooped in, made a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs, and locked him up. Classic Howie, capitalizing on a talent who fell in the draft for health reasons. The question now is, will history repeat itself? Will the same thing happen that happened in the draft cycle, where the shoulder injury delayed everything but Campbell ended up being ready sooner than expected? Because it's worth remembering. Back in the 2025 offseason, Fangio said in June that Campbell wouldn't be ready for training camp until August. The result? Campbell was on the field on day 1 of training camp, on July 23rd, ahead of even the most optimistic timeline. In other words, Fangio has a track record of being more pessimistic than reality when it comes to Campbell's recovery timeline. Is that good or bad? Depends on how you look at it. On one hand, that precedent gives hope that the linebacker will be ready sooner than expected. On the other, it doesn't erase the reality that Campbell will arrive at training camp without the foundational work that any young player needs to make the leap from year 1 to year 2 in the NFL. That jump is usually massive for a linebacker. The offseason is when he dives deeper into the scheme, builds communication with his teammates, and refines his specific techniques against the run and in coverage. Without that, Campbell is going to have to absorb far more information in far less time. And now the Eagles are in a very different situation than last year. In 2025, when Campbell got hurt, Nakobe Dean was still on the roster and could take the reins. Now Dean is in Las Vegas. With Campbell out during the offseason, who leads the second level? Zack Baun, the 2-time Pro Bowler, is the anchor of this group. No debate there. But beside him, the picture looks quite different. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. will take the first team reps while Campbell recovers. Trotter has shown he can play. He led the team in special teams tackles last year, and every time he had a chance on defense, he looked like he belonged. But that's still different from having a first-round starter with 80 rookie tackles lining up at that position. Smael Mondon Jr., the fifth-round pick from 2025, is also on the roster, but he played just 14 defensive snaps all season, living almost entirely on special teams. It's not realistic to expect him to solve the equation if Campbell also ends up missing time at the start of camp. And why does all of this matter so much? Because the Eagles' defense was ranked #1 in the entire NFL last season. This isn't just any defense, it's the highest standard in the league. Losing Nakobe Dean, Phillips, and Blankenship was already a blow. Now adding uncertainty around the linebacker who was drafted specifically to be Dean's successor is a combination that demands attention. This isn't panic, my friend. It's cold, clear analysis. Fangio was clear that he believes Campbell will be ready for training camp in July. But ready for training camp isn't the same thing as fully prepared to start in September. A linebacker needs reps, chemistry, confidence in the scheme. All of that gets built in the offseason. Without it, the Eagles need Fangio and the coaching staff at their absolute best to cram into a few weeks what would normally take months. The reported Eagles' interest in Patrick Queen, the linebacker currently available in free agency, also takes on a whole new context here. Before, it didn't seem to make much sense. Now, with Campbell likely out until July, and real uncertainty about his progression through camp, the idea of bringing in an experienced veteran to provide depth and leadership starts making a whole lot more sense. It's not confirmed that it's going to happen, but Campbell's absence from the offseason is certainly part of the calculation Howie Roseman is running right now. The biggest risk here isn't the short term, it's the long-term development of Campbell himself. Players who go through a second compromised offseason due to injury sometimes arrive at camp reacting to what they see on the field instead of anticipating plays. That's the difference between a linebacker who looks promising and one who truly dominates the position. The Eagles need Campbell to make that leap. The Super Bowl defense is going to need to be rebuilt around him. So what do you think, my friend? Should the Eagles move quickly in free agency and bring in a veteran linebacker like Queen to cover their backs while Campbell recovers? Or do you trust that Fangio is going to do what he did last year and get this young linebacker to camp in better shape than anyone expected? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know what you think about this situation. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do that right now because the Eagles 2026 season is getting more and more interesting by the day. Fly, Eagles, fly.